In tonight's headlines, Belize's most decorated diplomat talks about his journey. Nemo is getting ready ahead of the hurricane season, and Restore Belize teams up with a community group to break down walls. These stories and more on this week's edition of Belize Now. Thanks for joining us on this Friday, May 25th, 2018. I am Erin Guzman. You've probably heard the name Nestor Mendez called several times over the years in connection with Belize's foreign affairs. He's been a devoted and successful career diplomat representing Belize in various capacities in different countries. His Excellency Nestor Mendez currently holds the second highest position at the Organization of American States, the largest regional organization in the world. But who is Ambassador Mendez? We had a sit down with him recently to find out.
You never start as the boss.
Yes, exactly.
And you have to, this I learned from my grandfather. Know your place.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter if you're a student in a classroom, if you're a young employee, if you're a young diplomat, you're a young businessman. Know your place. Understand where you sit in the room and occupy it in a dignified manner. There's no shame in starting small.
He's a humble soul with huge responsibilities. He's the most decorated diplomat in the history of Belize, devoted father and husband, and kind of a big deal in Washington, D.C. However, Nestor Mendez still sees himself as that modest young man with big dreams from San Antonio Village in the Orange Walk district.
When I was in Standard 6, my class had 6 kids, and there was no school uniform, and nobody wore shoes to school.
The young Nestor's summers were spent on his grandfather's farm. Those summer experiences taught him important lessons in hard work.
So those are serious life skills, because then you're never afraid of hard work. So hard work could come in many forms, being out there in the field. And that's an important thing. There is no shame in hard work. Absolutely nothing that you do, as long as it is honest, there should be no shame.
That mindset saw him through all the years of his studies. Mendez's first job was as a teacher, but it was during his time at the University of Belize that Mendez discovered his passion for international politics. In 1993, he was hired as a Foreign Service officer in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
It was very exciting, and I was very pleased that I got one of the 2 positions.
Opportunities came along the way for Mendez to develop professionally. He served as a diplomat in Guatemala, the United Kingdom, the United States of America, and as Belize's permanent representative to the Organization of American States. He was officially appointed as an ambassador in 2008 by the Prime Minister Right Honorable Dean Barrow.
It was great. I had been chargé d'affaires. I had been running the embassy for a while, and working at the OAS, working on Capitol Hill a lot. I had had my turn several times to be the chairman of the CARICOM group of ambassadors and the Central American group of ambassadors. I chaired the OAS Permanent Council. I chaired several of the big committees at the OAS, and those are not by rotation. You have to be elected. Your peers have to say, you're the man or you're the lady for this.
In 2014, after discussions with relevant authorities, it was decided that it was time for Belize to extend its international profile. Ambassador Mendez then submitted his bid for the position of Assistant Secretary General of the OAS.
We felt that Belize had reached a threshold where we were ready to step beyond. So it's not only being effective in your representation in CARICOM or in Central America, but it's attempting to project beyond what we had ever done and stepping up to assume or to aspire to assume a more prominent role in a multilateral organization. And the United Nations was too big, but we were talking about the Organization of American States.
The elections were held in April 2015, and Belize got 24 of the 34 votes. Ambassador Mendez was officially appointed in July that year.
For us, it was important not just to have a win. You need 18 votes to win. But for us, because we're a small country and we're stepping up into this arena for the first time, it was important to have a resounding mandate. So nobody questions the legitimacy. So it's not just winning, but it's winning with an affirmative signal that, yes, you guys are going to do this. And we did.
The ambassador is in his third year of his 5-year term as the Assistant Secretary General, which will end in 2020. He has hopes that that year will see him in a new position as the Secretary General of the OAS.
The campaigning will probably start around January of next year, and we'll see what happens. I can tell you that I do have aspirations. If the Secretary General really doesn't run, I don't think he will run, then we have the opportunity to put forward a candidate for Secretary General. I also have the option to seek re-election. I'm not sure if I'm heading in that direction. I want to be Secretary General.
From a little village boy in a class of 6 students to the Assistant Secretary General of an organization of between 800 and 1,000 employees, he has come a very long way.
I always tell my kids, you have to dream big. You have to think big. But it's not enough to dream and think big. When you wake up, you need to get to work. Because it will only happen, if what you dream will only happen, if you are willing to put in the effort.
For Belize Now, I'm Miriam Longsworth.
Before attaining his position at the OAS, Ambassador Mendez has been involved in discussions regarding the Belize-Guatemala border issue for at least 16 years. We asked the ambassador for his personal views on taking the issue to the International Court of Justice. Here's what he had to say.
If you allow me, I want to separate myself from the position I hold at the OAS and speak like a Belizean. At this moment, we're facing one of the most important decisions in the life of our nation. People need to have the facts. People need to understand where we stand. What is the basis for our nation holding what we have? Why we're entitled to that? Legally, this is our country and we have a right to it. But beyond that right, we are legally entitled to it.
The ambassador believes that the issue of the Chickabull encroachments can be better dealt with after an official ruling has been made.
Saying we have held our country for so long and nothing has happened is burying your head in the sand. The price, the encroachments into the Chickabull, into our national parks that keep happening, none of that will stop until we're able to clearly delimit where the border lies. People will say, well, the encroachments will still continue if you go to the ICJ and you get a ruling. Perhaps. But once we delimit, because we have defined our borders, it's stated in the Constitution, but once we delimit, we mark where it is. We have a much clearer voice, a much stronger say in how we enforce our laws. No more adjacency zone.
A united country is what Ambassador Mendez believes is necessary when it comes to the Belize-Guatemala issue.
Now is not a moment to be playing partisan politics with this matter. We are one country, one Belize. This is too important for us to be attacking ourselves when really what we should be doing is circling the wagons to protect ourselves. And I hope people make a decision following their best judgment based on the facts. I will go to Belize on the 10th of April next year, and I'm going to vote yes. I am convinced that the only way to end the Guatemalan claim is to have it affirmed by the International Court of Justice, for them to say, this is the boundary. Your country right now, that is where the official boundary lies. I think we have a good case.
Ambassador Mendez is hopeful that the awareness campaign being carried out by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs will be successful in providing all necessary information to Belizeans. We'll have more stories after the break.
A high school basketball showcase took center stage at the first ever event to take place in the historic state-of-the-art Belize City Civic Center. Thanks to the government of Belize, Belizeans now have a massive modern entertainment and convention facility to be utilized by all sectors of society.
I have gone on record to say as well that Teachers' Day this year, which will come in next month of May, will also be here in the Belize Civic Center. All 5,000, almost 6,000 teachers strong will converge here in the Belize Civic Center for a massive event. There is no other place in this country that can hold the kinds of numbers that the Belize Civic Center can hold.
Government of Belize, moving Belize forward.
When we all come together, Belizeans living at home and Belizeans living abroad, and we use all our resources to get to the top of the highest possible mountain. Congratulations again to all the members of Team Belize. Congratulations to the organizers, to those who put this team together. And before I close, I want to make you one promise. I will find the funds to build a dedicated first-class basketball facility.
The government of Belize, moving Belize forward.
With the hurricane season fast approaching, the National Emergency Management Organization hosted a two-day training on the 24th and 25th of May. The purpose of the session was to harmonize the various committees with key frontline and support personnel that will be deployed in the event of a national emergency. Shelton DeFore, National Emergency Coordinator, tells us more.
After Hurricane Earl, we had issues with damage assessment where it was not coordinated, and to get a better result, we needed to bring several committees together so that we could have a common understanding as to how we're going to work during or after a hurricane.
DeFore, along with Mark Antrobus, Social Planner, Ministry of Human Development, also told us what was covered in the training.
The main things that we were looking at is logistics in terms of transportation, communication, and standardization of the forms, so that when a team goes out to collect information, we are collecting exactly what we need to provide immediate assistance to people.
We've improved the assessment tool, the questionnaire that we ask households what type of damage they've had, do they have supplies at the moment, what type of support do they need in immediate and short term. We're also looking at collaboration in terms of going out to different areas, especially in rural areas. So instead of sending 3-4 different teams who go out to do various different assessments, we'll go out as one joint team.
Our Belize Now team also spoke to one of the participants who told us how the training will help him to prepare for the upcoming hurricane season.
Well, for us it was very important. It comes at a correct time when it's the approach of the hurricane season, and we ourselves in the Belize rural area, we have been doing Dana training, but this enhances our knowledge to what we know as a district office. mostly on weekends, we'll go to the different communities and we train the local community members, the volunteers, village council, and this will enhance my knowledge as a district coordinator. In turn, I can share the information with others.
The training also reiterated the roles and functions of the emergency coordinator while discussing NEMO's response and recovery operations. Restore Belize teamed up with Walls Down Project on Saturday, May 19th to host a community event in the Port Loyola area. Our team stopped by earlier in the day to find out more.
They have a part in the Bible where say how God have a plan for you. Say plan. Plan. And his plan is to give you a bright future. Say future. Future. Everybody here has a future. Everybody here, God has a plan for you. So if somebody ever tells you you will never be nothing in a life, what you tell them? Lie. Tell them that's a lie. Say that's a lie. That's a lie.
Walls Down is a community-based group in Belize City with a goal of protecting Belize's children from violent crimes stemming from gang violence and sexual abuse. Their event held on May 19th, called Walls Down, brought together children from different communities in Southside Belize City to safely enjoy a day of child-centered activities while promoting community building. Walls Down project leader Joseph Stamp Romero told us what inspired this movement.
I've been doing a lot of work with young people before, but never working with children before, or both. And so I think that wanting to see a seed planted at the early age of children and then working with youth really brought together the idea for Walls Down. Walls Down as a concept is about bringing communities together, removing that barrier that separates us. And so the goal of it is really to show communities that we can interact. We don't have to allow crime to become the definition of a community.
Restore Belize's mandate is to foster citizen security by building a culture of peace. Their work promotes building a safer Belize through community building. Communications Officer Robin Schaefer said that their role in this event was to assist with coordination.
Restore Belize has its Peace in the Park program that aims to build a culture of peace, and we have done several community building activities over the years. So for this event, we spoke to Mr. Stamp and he had the Walls Down idea up and running. He just needed some funds for this particular day. So we did some resource mobilization, some basic small fundraising for this, and in the future we plan to collaborate with him further on other park events, particularly a bigger one we're planning to have later on in the year.
The activities included musical entertainment, bounce houses, a basketball competition, and sharing of motivational messages with the children and their parents. One of those speakers was Shakira Young, a mother who lost her son to gun violence in 2016.
I briefly spoke to the kids about the physical violence in regards to the gun violence, and I also gave a small briefing about the sexual abuse and the sexual violence issue. I also spoke to the parents about building a relationship with their children so that they would be able to openly discuss topics, especially the sexual aspect of it.
So what do children think a safe community is?
Be free and be able to go out that night and so we out here somebody get killed.
Belize is safe, I live good, miss. I go about car. My man send me out 10 times. I'm afraid to send me out. It's good for the kids to play and have fun right now, cause right now if gunshot happen, no fun nada. Fun done.
I just wish the world changed, that I could feel safe, that how I could go everywhere that I want and don't have to run away from people that is beefing around my area. I just hope the world change.
Walls Down wants the public to know that a difference can be made without a special post. It takes action from those who live in the community to make a difference.
We can't look to leaders to do everything. They have their function, we have our function. This is our Belize, and we have to stand up as a country and say, not in my community, not where I live.
For Belize Now, I'm Miriam Longsworth.
The Walls Down team hopes to branch out into more communities in the city. Stay tuned for more stories after the break.
Gorda town now has a modern multi-purpose sporting facility thanks to the government of Belize. The brand new complex is double the size of the prior venue, and some of the features include a FIBA certified wooden court with padding underneath, seating capacity for 1,000, changing rooms, locker rooms, and offices. This $3.4 million investment in the town of Punta Gorda is being heralded by the residents of PG.
I feel very excited because this is first time a port like this is built in PG.
This is a big achievement for the town because we have a lot of the youths there where they come out and want to play ball the same way. And this just put up on another level.
A lot of youths can't even wait to play on the new court because it's so official and it's something new to PG, in a whole.
I have to thank the government of Belize because they look out for PG,
The government of Belize, moving Belize forward.
Residents of Dangriga now have their very own, brand new, modernized, multi-purpose complex, compliments of the government of Belize. This $3.5 million investment in the cultural capital will host sporting events, cultural events, and shows, and can double as a hurricane shelter. Features include seating for 1,000, a fully FIBA certified wooden court, locker rooms with full bathrooms, a stage and changing rooms backstage, concession stands, office space, and ample parking. The government of Belize, moving Belize forward.
The Ministry of Work signed a contract on Thursday, May 24th with British consultancy firm Mott MacDonald Limited. The contract is for consultancy services for a feasibility study and detailed designs for the upgrading of mile 24.5 to mile 92 on the Philip Golson Highway and the upgrading of 11 miles of the Rumata Bypass Road in Corozal.
The north being the sugar belt, it will benefit especially the cane farmers in the area. It will benefit the cross-border commerce between Mexico and Belize. And also it involves the 11 miles Rumata bypass. It's not only the Philip Golson Highway. This will more or less give us about 90% of the major infrastructure development of all our major roads in Belize. The only road that is left that we develop is the coastal highway, which is on the way. We have already the funds to secure the funds, and right now they are doing the design. As soon as we finish that, then we'll have all our major highways in this country fully upgraded, fully developed to international standards.
The contract was signed at just over $2 million. The consultancy study is to be completed within the next 10 months. The technical assistance is being funded with a grant from the United Kingdom Caribbean Infrastructure Partnership Fund through the Department for International Development and administered by the Caribbean Development Bank. On Tuesday, May 22nd, the government of Belize, with the support of the Inter-American Development Bank, IDB, officially launched Belize's first ever Comprehensive National Transportation Master Plan, CNTMP. The overall objective of the CNTMP is to serve as Belize's preeminent reference document on transportation. It will aid in facilitating strategic sector planning and more efficient and effective transport of people and freight within the country and between Belize and its main trading partners. Ishmael Kiraz, Executive Director of the Economic Development Council, told us more about what the plan entails.
What the Transportation Master Plan includes as key recommendations with regard to public transportation is a gradual improvement in the quality of the buses available for public use, and that's going to take regulatory reform to enable longer-term licenses that will allow operators to be able to provide services. That in turn should incentivize and enable the private, typically small private bus operators, to be able to invest in the bus fleets And that should be coupled with improved criteria, improved quality that the operators will need to comply with in order to be able to provide better services.
Quiroz also mentioned that the plan sets forth the development division, policy reform recommendations, and implementation plan for the country's transport sector over the next 15 years. Honorable Edmond Castro, Minister of Transport and NEMO, specified some of the areas in which these developments can be visible to Belizeans.
I looked at this document over the past weekend. We're looking at everything as it relates to public transportation, shuttle buses, public transportation. We're looking at the water taxi. We're looking and we are planning for those who are using the municipal airstrip. We know exactly scientifically how many people uses our highway in terms of commuters, in terms of private transport. We know scientifically how many people will be able to use and what we need to do to invest now so that we know that we might be able to go from municipal airstrips to bigger carriers. We have the data. The data here today that reflects what we will need.
The CNTMP provides data on the infrastructure and transportation needs to support the economic growth of Belize.
This is the first time I've ever seen a master plan that developed for the so comprehensive dealing with the transportation system in our country. Most of the time, from the time I took over transport, we are going by what works, examples of what had been working in the past. But this comprehensive master plan gave us the scientific evidence as to what we need to do to project for the medium-term range, which is 2025 and 2035.
We have worked very closely and in a highly collaborative manner with the department in order to generate this plan, which we understand is the first in the history of Belize and a very important milestone. So we do congratulate the government and people of Belize in this context.
The component reports of the master plan are now available for public access on the Economic Development Council's website, www.edc.gov.bz. And that's it for this edition of Belize Now. If you want to provide feedback or send in comments, please feel free to email us at info@pressoffice.gov.bz or visit our Facebook page and let us know what you think. We look forward to hearing from you. Have a great week. Until next time.